I'm Kat Valyi, and thank you for joining me today for another episode of the Marketing Mindset Rehab. It's a space where we talk about how the right mindset and marketing processes work together to transform your marketing outcomes. My great guests and topics also could potentially make you a better leader as well. Today, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people just don't talk about, a unique connection between operations and marketing. We're going to dive deep and really talk about how changing your mindset in this area can transform and accelerate your sales. I have a wonderful guest. She's become a really great friend, and I just think that this conversation that we're having is something that's missed often in the conversation of the buyer's journey, buyer's client journey, as we call it. And today we have Sasha LaLite, and I'd love for you to learn a little bit about her. And then we're going to talk about how we met and got this whole conversation started. So, Sasha, just tell everybody a little bit about you.
Thanks, Kat. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be working with you. And a little bit about me. So, I have about 20 years in the healthcare industry, mostly working in strategic operations and cultural improvements, helping organizations to transform in a positive way. And I started Meta Viable Solutions as a fractional COO firm and fractional COO myself, really helping businesses during times of change, growth, and transition. So you and I had met in a networking opportunity at a networking event at Nancy Fox's fractional leadership group. And you and I are both provide outsourced fractional work as experts in our field. So it was really exciting to meet you, and you and I clicked right away. So great energy.
I know. And these fractional, there's so many popping up fractional networking groups, and you never know who you're going to meet. So I love these fractional networking. And this particular one, we met and you reached out to me and were like, hey, let's meet and let's chat. And we got on a separate call a couple days later, and boom, we were just on the same page. We started to talk. Even though you're in operations and I'm in marketing, we're both strategically minded people and
Right.
process people, that automatically we started to talk about where there was a need. And most people think about processes with marketing, they think sales and marketing. We talked about what was missing in that process, because when you think of the buyer's journey, many people just think of the buying part, the prospect, but there's also more to that journey, right?
Right.
There's the client. So why don't you, I'll let you jump in and talk a little bit about some parts of our discussion that really started to click, and what were our next steps.
So I think one of the things that we bonded on right away was our passion for working in the healthcare field and the healthcare industry. We had that in common. And we had both worked with patients, but also B2B companies, right? And we saw that within those companies themselves, there was a lot of internal workings and improvements that needed to happen in the business. So I think a lot of it was the processes and the alignment and touching on key points, and operations and marketing, especially influence, the buyer's journey and customer satisfaction, right? What is the feedback that we get from customers or clients or patients, right, at the end of the day? And how does that impact sales growth, revenue growth, how a business is profiting and competing, right, within the industry and within the market space?
Yeah, many times you'll have salespeople, clamoring to marketing saying, hey, I need a reference. I need a case study. I need some information that shows that our current clients love us besides just having reviews. And all of that stems from happy customers on the operational side. And then marketing can then tap into that information and create the content that exposes other people to these happy clients. So that's why, when we got together and started talking, I always found that there was a missing element between operations and marketing. Now, every company that I worked with, when back in the corporate space, I would always abuse myself and push myself into operations because I knew that that connection was super important. I even started advisory groups with the clients, working with operations. We're going roadshows to go see clients to better understand their perspective. So this way I could write better content and keep connection with the happy clients. And that's all because you're connecting with operations. And the thing is that it absolutely will help sales. Not only sales get new, but keep the current clients happy, to upsell. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree with you. I think the unique aspect of operations is it touches and works with every aspect of a business, right? Marketing, sales on the front end of the business, and on the back end, we have a whole bunch of other inner workings. And I think the key with ops is process, communications, alignment between your different teams and departments. And that doesn't always happen. You don't have that feedback loop as to what's working within the company, right? What is the feedback you're getting from actual employees from start to finish before a product or service even gets to the customer? And also, what is the feedback from the customer? Like you said, are they providing us with positive feedback on the service or product? When it comes to operations, what I found working in healthcare companies that were also selling B2B, I've worked, for instance, with call centers. What was the process for intake? Like, how are they? What kind of information were they actually receiving and doing on intake? What kinds of policies and procedures and process did they have for customer returns, customer complaints, customer questions, right? So all these things touch upon customer satisfaction and marketing and the feedback that we get. So it's important that that handoff, you talk about a handoff, right, between different teams, happen. And in my language, I usually call it alignment. Different teams and different departments, different players within the company has to understand the role that each of them play in the buyer's journey, right? And what that buyer is experiencing so that they can remain in a good competitive place, for their business.
Yeah, I always talk about it as the company relay race. And then you have you have three people on the team. You have, sales, you have marketing, and you have operation. And each one is equally important, although each does different things. So if you know about relay racing, now I'm not a sports person, or I don't even run, but I do know that you have the anchor and you have the one that sprints, and you have the one in the first one that, when the gun goes off, they've got to get a certain speed. But the most important thing is that all goes to hell if, number one, if they're on different tracks, and it's also illegal in the race, but they have to be on the same track, and they have to pass the baton in a sure and steady way, which means that they have to trust each other. Operations and marketing and sales have to have the same language. Everyone has to understand what motivates each different department. If your teams are in silos and they're just, focused on their particular goals, even though they're generally the same, there might be nuances that'll mess up the handoff. So that's one of the things we clearly started to click on. And so much so that we were talking about this and we're like, what's missing? It the world is missing us working together. And
Yes.
so that's when we created OM Growth Systems. And we said, we're going to focus on operations and marketing and helping organizations really learn how to have those teams work together, because ultimately it's going to help the sales. It's going to help you grow your business. So
Mhm.
as a B2B organization or as someone in the marketing system, you want to talk to your, leaders and make sure they're thinking about this process. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. And I think that one of the things we saw was you talk about speaking the same language, right? So things have to come from leadership and trickle down. So one of the things we talked about was working with the leadership team so that expectations are communicated to the whole group and everybody in the company is speaking the same language. That's like the first rule of thumb. So how could we align and create that alignment and that strategy with leadership so those handoffs could happen, so that processes within are really providing quality service, quality product for the customer.
So let's talk a little bit about OM Growth Systems, we just want to give you a highlight because it's not to tell you, oh, get OM Growth Systems, which is Operation Marketing Growth System. It's to help you better understand the foundations that we put and we thought about as we pulled it together, because we think that it's so important for B2B organizations, especially in the healthcare space. Because when I think of healthcare and I think of helping healthcare organizations, I always take it all the way through to the patient. Whatever your service, solution, technology, whatever it is you're doing, and you're helping physicians, hospitals, or the IT department in the hospital, all that stuff always is ultimately for the patient's benefit. And so helping operations and marketing get in sync to help sales is just kind of like my passion, and I know that's your passion too,
Yeah.
Sasha. I don't want to force the passion on you, but
No,
there
I
it
agree with you. I agree with you. It's impacting patients and patient lives and patient families, right? Caregivers, all at the end of the day.
Yeah, and what is it? Our mission, right? I love to talk about the mission. The mission is to help organizations create a cascade of strategic actions that lead to optimal growth. And when you think and change your mindset, like the podcast says, marketing mindset rehab, and if you change your mindset and think that it's not just sales and marketing, it's operations, marketing, and sales that have to work together, there's this great closed loop that not only will help you get, keep, and grow new clients, right? It helps you get, keep, and grow your current clients. And it just is a better atmosphere and a better, I guess, ecosystem for growth. But it takes training, it takes understanding, communication. It goes down the whole cascade thought process that we have that helps you get to the next level of thinking and working together. And I just think that when the teams are working together and the relay race has quality handoffs, you're going to have happier clients, you're going to have better messaging, and then you're going to have shorter buying cycles.
Yes, yes, better workflows, better customer service, all of it. I think the alignment and, just helping to get optimal growth. And I think that it's very unique that we have focused on this area because a lot of people overlook it. We don't work in silos. We can't accomplish anything just alone. And it's about changing your mindset, like you said, changing behaviors and that thought process within the organization so that you're really thriving, to impact the customer in a positive way.
And the funny thing is that once Sasha and I clicked, I'm telling you, it was like boom, 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 boom. We got stuff done. Every time
We
we got
did.
together for a meeting, we're like, holy cow, did we do all that?
Yes,
Boom,
we
boom,
did.
just get it done because
It's just great energy. Yeah.
I know, it was great energy and great synergy in terms of wanting to help. And we're like, we need to help people today,
Yes.
today.
Yeah. We were like,
So
we really have something here.
yes, yes. So you've been working in operations a long time. What do you love about working in the ops space?
My passion has always been, teaching and helping people to do better. And I think from the healthcare space, I always say this. The one thing I learned in healthcare is that behavioral change impacts the whole. And by doing operations and improving operations, I'm really not just putting, best solutions or best practices in a business. You have to actually integrate what you're teaching, to people within the organization. And that requires changing mindset, changing behavior, everything that you and I have talked about. That's ultimately going to change the work. That's going to change people's behavior in the organization. That's how you're going to start to see those improvements happening. So even us going in and working with leaders and working with teams in these companies, we're going to ultimately be impacting behaviors. And when people know better, they do better, right? So we're really helping them. So even if we do step away at a certain time, they'll be able to implement and utilize what we've taught them to really help and improve, their clients or their patients.
And to that end, we offer three different ways and to help you implement that. And you can do it yourself, but we're just saying that we also help folks implement through training, consultation, and we're both fractionals. So there's those elements. And if you want to learn more, you can go to the website, and if you can go down in the description, you'll see the link. You can go there and learn more. As much as I'd love to make this the OM Growth Systems commercial, I really want to focus on how you can understand the importance of operations marketing working together to galvanize your sales and because it's all connected. When marketing works with operations, they get access to the client at a different level. Not only are you hearing about what makes a client happy, you understand the workflow of the process, so you can kind of talk about those nuances, and then you maybe even think about new ideas to market. Because years ago, different organization, I did exactly that. When I went on my road trip to talk to clients, and I connected through operations, and you always talk to operations so they know where you're going. You don't want to just land up someplace and they're like, well, why is marketing here? So operations always knew. And I would talk to these clients and ask them specific questions. And those specific questions led me to solving a problem that we had by just talking about a solution differently. And having that connection is so powerful. And I think it's overlooked all the time. It's like marketing, stay in your place, but really it's marketing, work with your teammates on the relay race to
Right.
help make the company better.
Right. And I think that's what happens. I think when you bring different talents to the table, you come up with more creative solutions. And you're also offering, I think, working with marketing, because I've worked with marketing teams as well, or when we're having a product launch or a drug launch, whatever it is, what is the perspective and the interaction that our product or service is having with that customer or client. So while we might be experiencing it one way and delivering it one way internally, right, within the company itself, when we're doing operational work, what is actually the experience and being felt by the customer, right?
Right.
Or the provider, whoever is at the receiving end. So I think that that's why it's important to have those different perspectives at the table. And that's when the best solutions come up, because it's taking everybody's, perspective into consideration.
Yeah, another aspect of that is it reminds you when you have marketing going back into the customer space and also really connected with operations, it reminds you to think from the client perspective.
Yeah.
A lot of times we get lost in thinking about how great our product is, how great our solution is, but perception is everything. Do we really understand the client's perception? And it might actually be better than we think, right?
Mhm.
And taking that information and articulating it in a way that sales can then use is really super powerful, because that's how people buy, right? They buy from their perspective, not your perspective. So making sure you connect and tap with operations and the client is, I think, super powerful as well.
Yeah, I think it's super powerful, and I want to touch on one more thing, because we were talking before also about expectations, right, and quality. And sometimes when we're getting that client perspective, we don't know where the hiccup, like if let's say it wasn't a positive experience, we don't know where the hiccup is occurring. And when everyone on the different teams is on a different page and has different expectations, right? Then we might find maybe like sales is not delivering something the right way. It might not even be within the operational delivery of what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or maybe it's the messaging, or the messaging around the product, whatever it is. We need to get down to what it is. And that's why it's important to align within the organization. What are policies and procedures? What are processes? And when we talk about processes, there's usually at least 6 main processes: marketing, operations, sales. All of those things are included. And I worked in a company one time where each sales representative was going out and doing their own thing, and that wasn't creating a consistent level of quality and consistency, and also a good representation of the company. And so, being the operations person, I wasn't necessarily a sales trainer, but I was asked, because of my experience, right, to go in and to train and align and make sure we had one consistent way of the way we were delivering our service and product. So it's important that we have those things set up within. And then once we do deliver on a product or service, how do we go back and reassess what's working and not working for our clients? And I think that's one thing that you and I have been able to bring to light throughout our careers and our businesses.
It's really about getting the right perspective out there, expectation,
Mhm.
because that's interesting. That's happened to me before where sales, and a lot of times it's because they're either don't think that they have enough information or they're just, really gung ho and they've got to meet their numbers and they're out there. And what happens is that the expectation that the client has doesn't quite match what your product can do,
Mhm.
and that creates a big problem. One of the other things I always think about in the process of marketing and operations is client success and onboarding, because once a client signs a contract, from my perspective, the trust level starts all over again, right? Because if you have a poor onboarding, that can totally sour how they view the company going forward.
Right.
And so you've got to have a perfect onboarding with messaging, with connection, with workflows, make sure that the information gets to them in a timely manner, and
Mhm.
make sure that the was sold to them is addressed in the onboarding. All those components are
Yeah.
together. And because I've even managed client success and looking at it from a different perspective in terms of marketing. So this way their marketing experience around that is perfect, because what we did was we did surveys before, like how people were feeling about client success or onboarding before, and then after it went up by 50% positive reviews.
And it's really like you're saying, the onboarding, that's a process. The client
Yeah,
onboarding is a
whole
process.
process.
So, and everybody doing consistently across the board where the business knows. And we always talk about customer experience. And I always give the example of, Starbucks and Amazon, some of the biggest players. People know what to expect. Clients know what to expect. They have a certain level of customer satisfaction and delivery. And, that's what we want to make sure that our companies have.
Yeah, that's awesome. But before we sign off, if there's anything about you that you want to say, that's anything new and exciting that you're doing, because you also have your own company. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So my company is Viable Solutions, and I am also focused on, strategy, ops, cultural improvements, like we talked about. I also have a book, Striking Business Goals, where we talk about, when it's important to also bring advisors such as ourselves in, because we do offer objective counsel and advisory, and that's sometimes what's needed. That's how we met in that fractional group, right? And we help entrepreneurs and current business owners and leaders to build, scale, and profit in such a way. So I'm excited to work with you too on growth systems, because that falls in line with my mission and purpose as well,
Yeah.
as far as helping next level leaders, implement and really bring best solutions into their businesses.
So I hope this was a helpful conversation to those listening, really thinking about the process of the buyer's journey. Well, we call it the buyer's client journey because we think of it in terms of operations, marketing, and sales, and how those working together can truly, truly transform your organization. Again, for information about our solution and service, you can go down to the description. You'll see a link. You could also find us on LinkedIn. Please connect with us. We'd love to talk to you more and give you a little assessment. Actually, we have an assessment on our website. So that's our conversation today. The goal here is to share information to help you have a better organization, to change your mindset. So this way your marketing can rise to a higher level. And in this case, your operations as well. So thanks again and look forward to talking. And thanks so much, Sasha. What
Thank
another great episode. I'm so glad you stuck to the end to hear everything. This is a great conversation, and I'm telling you, I'm going to have more conversations with Sasha about this topic, because operations and marketing connection can really work together, especially you heard from some of our examples, to transform your sales. So to learn more about OM growth systems, just go to the information below. You'll also find information about Sasha's company, Viable Solutions, as well as CV Strategic Marketing Solutions. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Marketing Mindset Rehab. Until next time.